Hello, my name is Heikki Inkinen, and I'd like to discuss you about our awkward pilot and my role in the pilot. I work around in 4D schedules and BIM coordination process. Our awkward project or awkward pilot was a part of courthouse of Vantaa project. Uh, the project owner in Finland is Senate Properties, so it means it's a governmentally owned project, and we were hired to be BIM coordinator in the project. And a part of our role in the project was to be also in the Accord pilot, which is a part of testing the national open BIM requirement and standardization. And in this project, uh, we worked normally as BIM coordinator. We did normal BIM coordination work, but also we had this side path where we tried out the new Rava 3 Pro BIM done by architect. So it means the new standardized way of doing BIM. In Granlund, we have quite a history on this whole national open BIM requirements and standardization. We are part of a group that is doing the MAP version of the standardization, but in this Accord project, we tried out also the architect one. So we had quite of insight early on, and it was still quite a difficult task for us to be the first in Finland and do it the first time. Good things in the project. Uh, we we have an issue in Finland normally that we have these property sets and properties. They are quite wild in Finland. Uh, we lack the standardized way. We have the standardized process, but all the properties are a little bit different. It's similar to when you go to the, for example, Google, or you want to go to some net site, and the address of the net site is always a little bit different depending on which machine you're going it into, on the mobile device or by your computer or by your personal computer. The address differs a little bit. It's the same in the BIM world. We have lots of different projects. The process is the same, but always the property sets are quite different. And this national open BIM requirement standardization is trying to solve this issue. One of the things in the Accord project, we tried out the standardized way of doing the permission properties. In the permission, we have these formats in Finland, which is necessary to provide for the authorities. So the authorities can speed up their process on the permissions side. What we found out in the project, we had this Solibri preset rule sets what checked these attributes that were, or properties that were necessary for the permissions. We had quite some difficulties there. For example, one difficulty what comes up in my mind is emergency exits. So you need to show in BIM the emergency exits, but you didn't have a standardized way of showing it. So it means you cannot check the emergency exits by machines. You always need a human eye or very advanced artificial intelligence to check it. But working things, what actually worked quite well, where the standardized way of showing the property, the courthouse of Vantaa property, where it's located, what heating system it uses, what electricity type it uses in the project. Then a little bit about the common uses where using BIM in the permission process. If the property is being done according to rules of BIM, then the produced data, the separate data that you produce in the project, you get a lower amount of documentary because lots of things are already built inside the building information model. And I think the greatest assets of this standardized way will come from the authorities when they're processing the data. Although usually the documents that normally designers produce, even without BIM, they are being produced more or less in the projects if it's done by BIM or not. I talked about a little bit of the good uses, but maybe we should also discuss the problematic things, or at least what I see as a problematic thing, maybe problematic. The workload will, of course, increase a little bit because it's a new thing. You need to think about the new things you need to do by new processes. You need new layouts in your designer programs. And of course, when you need more amount of work, the price will go a little bit higher. Even when the workload comes more standard and the people already know what they're doing, rarely the pricing will go lower, so it won't come back where it was. This will a little bit increase the prices of the projects, but in my honest opinion, it won't raise the workload that much. So in the big picture, it won't make any difference. But when we're using more of a BIM in the projects, the security or the cyber security issues will of course come up, and the risks will go a little bit higher. For example, if you have some secret projects or you have a project that is under NDA and you don't want to show the address to everyone where it's located, these might be a little bit of issues, but they are things that must be agreed on the project at the beginning. Little bit of the quality wise, what it means in the project quality. The design solutions might a little bit change even after permission process, but these design solutions are part of normal construction quality, so I don't think it won't differ that much. And of course, when you think about the quality of construction, usually you see the quality work done by workers, and I don't think it doesn't matter there at all. The quality of also the design produced documentary. When you are going on the permission process in your project, the designers must be more ready than they are at the moment normally. I also think the workload and the work for the authorities will get a lot easier because you will get more finished designs. You won't have that much updates on authorities' point of view, and I think it will help them quite a lot. On this project, I can also discuss about the architect's work quality, because the architect was the only one who did this standardized BIM in the Accord pilot. I believe the architect's quality will also go higher. They need to rethink their designs They need to finish them more, they need to finish them better, and it will provide a better base information for all the other designers as well. In the BIM coordinator's point of view, the quality, I don't think it will affect a lot. Of course, we have BIM coordinators in the world I know that are doing only the visual checking. I don't, in my honest opinion, I think it's always the wrong way to do it. If you only do by visualization, it will grow their quality of checkings quite a lot because they need to use pre-designed rule sets, or they can create their own rule sets. And checking all the models by hand will eat some time, to be honest. Also, the quality in the BIM coordinator's work, it's predefined by the process, how the BIM coordinator does their work, and also the experience. What other things I saw in BIM coordinator's role? It will participate BIM coordinator quite a lot in the normal design process. Usually the BIM coordinator is only a dot in the design schedule, but it will bring BIM coordinator more close to the normal design process. What new things I believe we will see in the near future in the National Open BIM Requirement Standardization? The designer will have more possibilities and responsibility to check their own models before checking them by other consultants. So it means that the designer's own quality control will have possibility to go up and higher, and also it will produce more direct or more strict responsibilities between the designers and consultants in the normal building project. Good thing to discuss a little bit about normal construction project. For example, in Finland, usually it begins that the one who wants to construct a building or repair a building, they start hiring designers and consultants. For example, the architect comes from one firm, MEP design from another, structural design from another, and BIM coordination might come from another firm. They of course can come from one company if the price is correct, at least. All the designers are responsible for their own BIM models, but the BIM coordinator is responsible of checking that models are being done according to their own contracts and the quote requests or quote request documents. Once the normal building process starts, BIM coordinator will discuss with the main designer or the architect, depending on the project. Might be one and the same, or they might be two different persons, and they will try to make a schedule on BIM checkings. And this National Open BIM Requirement Standardization project creates sort of a one checking dot on the schedule more, and it will of course create a little bit of more work for all the designers that are required for the permission process. It will clarify their work much more. I've heard earlier it has been said that designer's work is like an artist's work. You cannot schedule it, but of course you can schedule it. And the permission process is just one dot in the scheduling process. Another thing that comes up in my mind in the usage, when using BIM for example, in 4D or cost calculations or CO2 calculations or whatever, the person that is actually using the BIM, they always will need the quantity takeoffs. The quantity is basically everything. If you know how much material you have, you can make the cost calculations. If you know the correct amount of material, you can do the CO2 calculations, or you can schedule the work. If we are installing, for example, a concrete slab, I could say, for example, 100 square meters, and you make a concrete slab 10 centimeters thick. So, yeah, it's about 10 cubic meters. That is some of the material you can actually use. And in a modern time of construction, you will, of course, use the BIM models. They provide you the information pre-calculated. You don't need to check them from drawings and so on. But if the property sets are not standardized, it means that all the designer does their property sets and properties as they wish to do, or they do it how their company does it. The person taking the quantity takeoffs must standardize it first for their own usage. It means that if we see a column, structural column, for example, we need always to know, is it a concrete column, wooden column, steel column, how much thickness it has, how much reinforcement bars it has, and so on. If it's not shown in a standardized way, or you cannot, of course, use your computers to automatically check them. You always will need a human eye for that. So that means when you need to standardize it for your own use first. If we have standardized BIM, we can take the quantity takeoff standardized way, and it will speed up the process quite a lot. A few examples. If we use, like, for example, like 4D, it means scheduling the construction process by their BIM models. We use about 8 hours of standardization per model. It means that we need to standardize the model, that we know which object is which. So 8 hours of saving time. Another example, if you are doing like procurement, and let's take an example, drywalls of procurement. I have experience in that. I've worked in the construction side earlier quite a lot. If you're calculating it by the drawings, it will take, let's say, like a 10,000 square meter school project, as an example. The calculations will take by hand, it could be from 8 to 20 hours, depending. Of course, you have these you cannot do that work, the calculation work, from the start to beginning without any interruptions. Normally you get interrupted quite a lot. So you want to speed up that calculation process. Once you're starting to do it, you want to do it quite fast. If you're using BIM models to do that, it will cut up your calculation time. Total of about 4 hours, so 4 hours of work versus 20 hours of work. That's one of the main reasons we want standardized BIM models. And I think the permission models is just one thing that we start up. In the future, I think we will have more standardized models, more standardized way of doing things. We will get the information as we want it. Another example standardization from the history is actually the drawing markings. You have standardized the markings on the drawing. Good example, if you check up the electrical drawings, where you see a cross, the cross is always a light. It means there is a light somewhere there. But if you wouldn't have standardized it, in one project you might have a square, another project you might have a triangle, another project you might have a cross, and you always need explanation of the drawing in the side. So standardization. It saves quite a lot of time, and this is all basically what this all is about.